So I wanted to show you an example of doing this absolute value inequality where we have a negative coefficient for our x, which means at the end we're going to have to divide by a -2, which changes the sign here. We had talked about that a little bit in one of the videos, but in case you didn't get to see that video, I wanted to make sure and give you an example because I don't think Delta Math gave you very many that look like this, so I didn't want you to overlook the fact that when we divide by that -2, we're going to end up having to reverse that sign. So just hop right in here. First thing I would do here is add 4 to each side. When I do that, I bring down the absolute value of -2x plus 6 less than or equal to 18. At this point, I can go ahead and make my two different equations. Just like normal, I have -2x plus 6 less than or equal to 18. And I said equations, I meant inequalities. -2x plus 6. Now we know we got to flip the sign here because we're changing it to a -18 instead of a positive. So when we do the positive version, the sign stays the same. When we do the negative version, it flips. And when I say positive version, I mean whatever version we have here. So we didn't change the sign from here to here, so this sign stays the same. So when we went to the other one, we did opposite sign here, made it a -18, so we did our opposite sign there, made it a greater than or equal to. All right, so moving on, we subtract 6 from each side. We have -2x less than or equal to, we'll call it just 12. Here's the part that gets tricky. When you divide by a -2 and you're dealing with inequalities, you divide by anything negative, the sign flips. So I divided by a negative number here. I had a negative coefficient I had to get rid of, so I divided by a negative on each side. This less than or equal to now became a greater than or equal to, and it's going to happen on the other one. I subtract 6. -2x is greater than or equal to -24. Now I divide both sides by -2. The sign's going to flip. Now I've got less than or equal to. X is less than or equal to, going to be a +12. Remember, the whole point of this video is anytime you have to divide by a negative number, your inequality sign will flip around and make it opposite. So it went from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. Over here, I had a greater than or equal to. I divided by -2. So I divided by that negative number, and it turned the sign around, and now it's less than or equal to. Now let's go ahead and let's look and see what that's going to look like on a number line. So on a number line, if we were graphing this on there, we would have, we'll put a 0 here. We'll call that 12, and we'll call this -6. This is not to scale at all, but you can kind of see what's going to happen here. Since x is greater than or equal to -6, then you get a filled in dot for the -6. The equal to part makes that dot filled in. And it's greater than, so it's going to go to the right. On the other side, we have x is less than or equal to +12. The equal to part's going to make our circle filled in. And since less than is going to go to the left, ends up being all these values between the -6 and the +12. Now, for some reason, if this would have been the opposite way where it would have went to the right, then it would have just been everything greater than or equal to -6. It would just kept going to the right all the way. But we set up a boundary here by saying less than or equal to 12. So it's greater than or equal to -6, but it's also less than or equal to 12. for your learning target check, you will need to know how to graph on a number line, how to solve the inequality in the first place. But the key point that I wanted to really get you to understand on this video is at any point that you divide by a negative number, like right here, and you're dealing with inequalities, you always flip the sign.